Good evening, everybody, and welcome to, once again, a packed O'Rourke's Public House for the Brian Kelly Radio Show. Coach will be here momentarily. I'm glad all of you here did not suffer from what the rest of Michiana did today. I call it snow amnesia. You have no idea what to do when it snows. It takes a lot of time right now. The roads are icy. Everybody's driving half a mile an hour, so Coach has to get from the Goog over here. Took me 10 minutes just to get from the stadium to here, so he'll be here in just a few moments. But you know, you guys get to be here, but there are people who watch this show all around the world on Watch ND, and every Thursday night we have a little special called Notre Dame Thursday Night Classic Games. All you got to do if you're watching on Watch ND somewhere is you go back to the main page, click on Thursday Night Classic Games. Tonight's game is the 1995 Notre Dame-Texas game from Notre Dame Stadium. It's most significant because it was the first game Lou Holtz was back coaching Notre Dame after he had his cervical spine surgery. And, of course, Lou, being antsy, was supposed to be in the press box. He came down to the sideline. He had a big neck brace on. He even got jostled, so he went back to the press box the next games. But the big thing is Notre Dame also beat 13th-ranked Texas that game 55-27. So for those of you who are watching, we're going to show you that game coming up later tonight. And so that we have more time to chat, we also have the three starting linebackers will be here. So Coach has arrived, so I'll tell you what, we'll take a break, get that out of the way, and we'll talk with Coach as soon as he gets in here. Our first time out here on the Brian Kelly Radio Show. Welcome back to the Brian Kelly Radio Show, a packed house of hearty souls who made it through this early burst of winter, and that's a question that a lot of folks are wondering about, the weather for the game Saturday. Not supposed to snow, it's going to be cold, but you're not really concerned.
No, we'll play in the indoor facility, so if you have tickets – not a very.
No, I tried a couple. They're pretty. They're stern tonight.
They're stern tonight.
They're
okay,
pretty stern.
You're fine. We're playing outside. We were outside yesterday in the elements, and we got a chance to play in 30-degree practice in 30-degree weather, and we were outside in the snow today. So we're a hardy group and ready to play.
And we also got our first look because I was
better.
over there. Yes, that was much better. I was over there shooting something before you guys went to practice, and there was, I think, Notre Dame's up to 6.5 inches of snow, somebody told me today. And it was clear right about 3 o'clock. And you went out there until it started really snowing again.
Yeah, it was really bad. I mean, it got to the point where we didn't want to get anybody injured because, you know, with the field turf, we have two plows that can plow that field. But, you know, obviously we wanted to try to get our practice in, and so instead of having the guy stand around and get it plowed for 40 minutes, we wanted to get our practice in. So it got a little slick, so we went back inside. But, you know, we got the report from the weather people, and they gave us a 6-page, glossy, colored printed, the vortex and all these things. And it was very, very technical. And at the very end, the last bullet point is it said that, but none of this is for certain. So I thought it was.
Yeah.
They did this beautiful work and color pictures, and at the end it said none of this is for certain.
So at that point, you're thinking, maybe I could be a weather guy.
Yeah.
It's the only profession where you're paid well and can be wrong every day.
Yeah, you certainly wouldn't get second guess like I do.
No, and we got a few second guesses in here. We'll get to that in another segment coming up. But this is the first week this year where your team has had to hit the practice field, knowing that they played a big role in a loss.
Right. Well, you know, anytime you turn the ball over 5 times, that contributed to 35 of the 55 points you gave up. Certainly those mistakes were the reason why we lost the football game. We didn't lose it because of lack of effort. We didn't lose it because our kids didn't want to win the football game. But, you know, when you play the game of football, you have to execute properly, and we certainly didn't do that. Again, you know, the 5 turnovers all ended up directly relating into points, and points to Arizona State. It's a good team. We made them look like a great team.
Everybody wants to know about ball security. And obviously, on first look, it is natural to completely blame, and you've already talked about the program's not about blame, but everybody blames the quarterback, and certainly it's his responsibility. But I don't know how many people went back and watched the tape. When you look at the tape, there were a lot of moving parts, which all moved in the wrong direction on a lot of those plays.
Yeah, we had 3 deflected balls, right? We had 2 balls that were tipped at the line of scrimmage. We had 1 ball that went off Corey Robinson's hands, and we had the 1 fumble where Everett was trying to make a play. So, those were the 4 plays during the game that turned out to be crucial plays. And, really, Everett took full responsibility, because he is the quarterback. He has the ball in his hands. But there's 10 other players that are directly responsible for taking care of the football as well, in the sense that, it's not just one guy. It's making sure that everybody's working together. So everybody has a hand in making sure that the ball gets handled properly. It's easy to say the quarterback did this, the quarterback did that. But a lot of other things went on for those turnovers to take place.
And just one thing a lot of people don't think about the offensive line, and they didn't have one of their better games, but they played better than a lot of people thought they did. But when defensive linemen are jumping up, tipping balls, that's partially on the offensive line.
Yeah, partially. Yeah, certainly. They were in pressures in both instances, and there was nobody rushing. It was a defensive end that was not rushing, but he jumped and got his hands on the ball. And there's a clip right there where they're running a blitz on the outside, and we've got to find that window. But you can see that the right tackle doesn't get the right defensive end here on the ground. See him look at the cut. He doesn't get him cut. He's supposed to cut him. And he's able to jump up and knock the ball down. So you can blame whoever you want. We don't blame anybody. We say that that's a lack of execution. We got to go back and do a better job of executing.
Just a little bit of Coach Kelly's TV show there. And for those of you who would like to watch that, we archive the video feed of this show every Friday.
That was pretty good. I was doing it during the radio show on the TV at the bar. Does anybody do that around here?
No.
That's pretty good.
I don't think so.
Right there.
I mean, maybe you could just – no, you can't just do once. You can't just do once. But
that's
if I were you, I've been thinking about we could just do this once and cover both things. You did say just a few moments ago at your press conference that you saw a very different Everett Golson at practice this week that you've never seen before, and you liked what you saw.
Well, he's got so much pride, and he wants to win so bad. I mean, nobody wants to be the guy that at Notre Dame that is part of a loss, where – look, he feels like, he was responsible for it. Now, I know he's not directly responsible, and he wasn't the reason why we lost. There were a lot of reasons why, and other players played a role in it. But he's got so much pride that he wants to make sure that that never happens again. And you could see it in the way he handled – well, I'll give you an example. The players meet the press on Wednesday. They go to the press, and you know what you're going to get answered or asked on Wednesday, right, after a loss. He's the first one in there. He was the first one ready to handle any of the tough questions from the press on Wednesday. And I love that about your quarterback and your leader, ready to take full responsibility. And he handled it great with the team. And practice this week, he was outstanding. So you better get in that stadium because it's going to be fun to watch him on Saturday.
Well, and I can add that after a win, Everett usually isn't the first one in there. So he really
No, he's usually the last one to most things. He's not been the last to anything. So it was fun to be around him this week, and I think he really I think a lot of what happened on Saturday, you're not going to see that happen again.
Now, one of the advantages to actually coming out to O'Rourke's for this show is during each break, some lucky people get to come up and meet Coach. There's a big line over here to our right, so we're going to take another break. We'll be back with audience questions for Coach Kelly right after this timeout. We are back on the Brian Kelly Radio Show at O'Rourke's. Time for audience questions, but a couple, first of all, birthday wishes to Mary Garcia, who is right over here. Hard to believe. Now, your friend gave us the age. You're the big 4-0 today, huh? Or is that not? She doesn't look 40 to me.
30. I said 30.
All right, 30.
I said 30.
Hey, I'm envious of 40. At this point, I'm envious of 50.
All right.
And there's also, I gave the card to one of our associates here. Greg Hughes is actually Vice President of Sales for Notre Dame Sports Properties. There's an 83-year-old grandma here who has 2 life wishes: to go to a game, which she's going to Saturday, and to meet Coach Kelly. So I don't have the name. If you can get over here by the next break, we'll get you to meet Coach Kelly. So thank you. Audience questions now. Kevin Jenkins from Atlanta, Georgia is here. Coach, after a loss like Saturday's and the FSU game, what personally is the hardest thing that you have to do the next week?
Well, in the Florida State game, obviously, you felt like one, where you played very well for 4 quarters. And there was really nothing you could do. It was out of your control. where this one, you gave it away. And so the things that you could control, you have to go back and you have to control them better through practice and preparation and coaching too. I've got to coach better. So this isn't always just on the players. This is coaching as well. So coaches, players alike, we win together, we lose together. And so you set that stage on Monday and you talk about what you need to do. And what we need to do is we need to go win.
Diane Neary's here from Granger. Not a question, she says, just a comment. After 2 tough losses on the road, seeing the way the Irish players reacted, just want to say I'm proud to be an Irish fan. And these players have reacted very well. Brandy Welker's here from Ashland, Pennsylvania. It's a simple question that's a lot deeper than it sounds initially. Is coaching easy or hard, and why?
Coaching, well, there's different parts of it, right? The hard part of coaching probably is the time that you have to put in if you want to stay in this profession. You got to spend a lot of time away from your family, and that's the hard part. Probably the hardest part is the recruiting, and because you're recruiting 17-year-old kids that really don't understand the college part of it. So that's the hard part of it. And then I think the easy part is the X's and the O's, and that's the fun part. But the hard part is probably the time.
Rick Staub is here from Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. If my memory serves me correct, he's either the current or former or forever president of the Gettysburg Notre Dame Club. Coach, with the playoff out of the question, how do you keep the team focused to finish strong and play for a major bowl game?
Well, our guys, and look, we were down 34-10, and I think if you ask any of our players, they didn't come back in that game because they said, "Oh, well, if we don't come back, we're not going to be in the playoffs." That never crossed their mind. They came back because they want to play well and they want to win. That's why they play this game. They don't think like we do. They think in the immediate. So we stay in the immediate. They want to win. They put in so much time. They sacrifice. They practice. So it's really about staying in the present. They want to win football games, and they want to win on Saturday. And so it's really just getting them to stay focused on the present. And if they stay focused on the present, it's really for them. They want to sing the fight song in Notre Dame Stadium. That's really the most important thing to them. And whatever happens at the end happens. We couldn't control whether we were going to be in the playoffs, even if we won all of our games. So we never really gave it much thought other than winning football games. So that's what we'll continue to do.
You've won a lot of games in your career. You won national championships at Grand Valley. Have you found that the best teams are the ones that just focus on the next game and don't look ahead to other things?
Well, I think we have to do that. We don't play for a conference championship, so there's no need to worry about that. So for us, it's just about, preparing each and every week to play we haven't played our best football game yet. We haven't. We haven't played a complete game offensively and defensively. So, really just focusing on playing our very best game on both sides of the ball. So at the end of the game, we can say, that's as good as we can play.
Kevin Burke's here from Binghamton, New York. Coach, how are you able to retain your composure so well after the Florida State and Arizona State games? Is it yoga, meditation, or some medication? I think you really are a great coach.
Heavily medicated. Heavily medicated.
Chuck Sossman's here from Granger. I'd like to know the status of Corey Riggs. Oh, you mean Cody Riggs?
Cody, yeah.
And Austin Collinsworth for Saturday.
They're better. They're not 100%, but they're going to give us what they can. They've practiced a little bit more this week, and if they can give us anything, they're going to give it to us. But they're certainly not 100% yet.
Coach Kelly, this is from Mark Pence of Lincoln, Nebraska. What are a couple of the things you have done to improve recruiting and get excellent student athletes to say yes to Notre Dame?
Well, I think first of all you got to have a successful program and certainly winning football games, playing in the national championship. getting our players to graduate and giving them a chance to play in the NFL. We have 18 players drafted in the NFL over the last 3 years. We've graduated 98% of our players, and we've been nationally ranked. So if you take the three things that most kids are looking for, right, they want to get a degree from a great institution. They're going to get one here at Notre Dame. They want to play on national TV, and they want to play meaningful games. Well, we've shown that we can do that, and they want to win, and we've shown that we can do that as well. So those three things coming together have allowed us to recruit the very best, and that's why we got three of the very best over here today, and they came to Notre Dame probably for those same reasons.
And we're going to meet them coming up. The starting linebacking core for Notre Dame is here, and they'll be here after this timeout. The Brian Kelly Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House. Welcome back to the Brian Kelly Radio Show, ladies and gentlemen. Joining me up here on the stage now, your starting Notre Dame linebacking core. And I'll give, some people say give the numbers, so I'll give the number. Number 9, Jaylon Smith right here. Number 5, Nyles Morgan in the middle. And number 17, James Onwualu on the end. Guys, thanks for coming by.
Yeah, thank you.
My
no
problem.
So I guess the first question is, everybody knows that Joe Schmidt went down, and he had really become the leader of the linebacking core. What was it like playing without him last week?
I mean, for Joe, you know, not only as a leader of the linebackers, he was also, you know, the leader of the defense, you know, as far as, you know, getting us lined and getting everything, you know, communication was great. So, you know, having that void missing, it was just a matter of, you know, all of us, you know, rallying together, and it was good.
Okay, Nyles, I'm going to get to you after I get to James, because you kind of took those responsibilities over.
Okay.
James, what was it like not having Joe out there?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit different. I mean, there was a lot of adjustments that we had to go through throughout the week, and obviously Nyles was learning and picking up a lot of different things. But I think one thing that Jay really was trying to have us all do was talk more. Joe did a lot of the talking the week before, but we all had to start talking together and communicating, you know.
And, of course, Nyles, you got your first start. You made 4 solo tackles during the game, and I know in the week leading up to the game, at the beginning of the week, the coaching staff wasn't sure how they were going to do it and how they were going to spread it out. And they said you had such a great week of practice, not only demonstrating the knowledge you needed, but the confidence to make the calls. So I'll let you be your own toughest critic. How do you think you did on Saturday?
I think I did okay for my first time. You know, we had you had to have Jaylon and James and the safeties kind of pitch in for, like, seeing the calls. And it was just kind of like, you know, a lot of my play for the first time, so I'm kind of glad my teammates were there to help me out each and every way they possibly could, you know. And Joe did a fantastic job. And it was kind of a lot of my play for the first time. I think I did pretty well kind of taking it all in, digesting everything. And just got to keep pushing forward. It's kind of a next man in policy. It's time to step up.
Shows a lot of maturity when you're that self-aware, because that's basically what the coaching staff said. Pretty good job, room for growth.
Yeah, a lot of growth.
And you're still growing. People, I mean, you get a lot of publicity. You're a very good player. By the way, last week he was named one of 20 semifinalists for the Bednarik Award, not given to the best linebacker, but given to the best defensive player in the country. And you earning this recognition while at a new position yourself, which has been, I know, different, moving from inside to outside. Are you comfortable out there now?
I'm getting more comfortable. You know, it starts every week, you know, with the preparation. You know, all of my life I've always seen the game from an outside perspective, and now moving in, it's just about adjusting. And, you know, you got your teammates you can rely on, and, you know, at the end of the day, you know, it's all about instincts, you know, playing fast, and that's something that I continue, you know, to try to do every week.
We're showing highlights of you in action. Do you think you surprise opponents sometimes with your speed? Because you have made tackles. We just showed one against Stanford. I think you ran almost 40 yards across the field to make the play.
I mean, just from a perspective of, you know, always having that, you know, that idea to play fast, you know, instincts and, you know, God-given talent. You know, I'm very blessed. So just try to soak it all in, take it all in, and, you know, do whatever it takes, you know, for the team to win.
James, you've made the switch this year from wide receiver to the defensive side. I mean, I guess you got most of your attention, publicity in high school as a wide receiver and a running back. People forget you are also an outstanding defensive back. So did you come to college not caring which side of the ball that you played on, or do you like one side or the other better?
Oh, no, yeah. I started out, you know, pretty excited to play receiver. I played a lot of running back in high school, so I was excited to play under Coach Denbrock, and I had a great first year. But, after that, I just felt like I'd really fit in somewhere on the defense and was interested in trying it all out,
Of course, you are a graduate of Gretna-Durham High School up in St. Paul, Minnesota. A little pipeline from that school down here. Most recently, Michael Floyd. You may have heard of Michael as one of the great players. We had Ryan Harris on as our post-game analyst. He had a week off in the NFL and came on to join the radio show. What is it about the connection between your high school and this university?
I think the big thing is that they're both very similar. I mean, there's that faith aspect of my high school, and just the culture within my high school is very similar to the University of Notre Dame. So I see that when I came here, I felt comfortable. It was like home for me, and I think a lot of kids from there feel that same way.
Nyles, you, of course, are from the Chicago area, so there's a lot of Notre Dame fandom up there. At what point did you start following Notre Dame? And it's okay if it wasn't until they started recruiting you, but when did you first become aware of Notre Dame and its football team?
I would have to say my sophomore year. I remember I think it was Coach Kelly who came out, gave me an offer. I was like, okay, got a Notre Dame offer. But, I was in high school. I wasn't thinking about, exactly school yet. And then junior year came around, kind of still wasn't thinking about it. I remember
so Coach Kelly came himself, but you still thought about it for a year. Okay.
Yeah, and then my senior year, I remember I was in summer camp, and one of the coaches that gave me a call and said, "Are you still interested in Notre Dame?" And I was like, you know what, I'll give them a shot. And then it turned out to be one of the best decisions of my life. I really got a good view of their education system and their football as well. I realized that I get the best of both worlds here, pretty much, as far as academically and football-wise. And why not strive for the best?
Well, we are glad you're here, and I can my gray hair is a testament. I've been here for a while. When they say it's a 40-year decision, 25, 30, 40 years, all you guys come back, and you're all really successful, and you're all making a difference in the communities where you live, and that's really what this athletic department does for all of its student athletes. Excel on the field, but also excel not just in the classroom, but excel in life. I think when you leave here, you feel guilty if you don't do good things in life, and that's why we're proud to have you here. And these guys are going to do great on the 60-second drill, which is actually the 5-minute drill on the radio show right after this timeout. It's warm and toasty here at O'Rourke's Public House, a great place to spend a snowy November Notre Dame evening, and it's time now for the 60-second drill with the 3 starting linebackers for Notre Dame. Jaylon, we'll start with you. You get an easy one.
All right.
Favorite all-time movie?
Finding Nemo.
Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys can all jump in if you've got.
Really?
What do you think?
I guess I don't agree with that.
Seriously.
I'd probably go Remember the Titans.
All right.
It's classic VHS.
The Matrix.
Ooh, I love The Matrix. I've seen it like 20 times.
Me too.
I wish I was that fast. Favorite TV show? No.
The Walking Dead.
Okay.
Anybody? You? Okay.
No, man.
No.
James, favorite food to eat for dinner?
I'm definitely Alfredo guy. Alfredo with some chicken and shrimp in there.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's
some
good.
grilled
My
shrimp.
mom does it well, so.
Yeah, and you can keep eating that as long as you keep working out.
Exactly.
Testimony what happens when you keep eating it and stop working out. Jaylon, get up early or sleep in?
Get up early. Yeah, I'm a morning guy. I like to get stuff done, and the evening you can relax a little bit.
That's the best way to be productive. You guys morning guys too?
I'm a morning guy.
How'd you like me? Not really, are you? No.
He's not.
Best time to sleep's the morning. I agree with it. You can all answer this. I'll start with James, but you can all answer. Best nickname on the team and who has it?
The best nickname? Yeah,
Me.
maybe Smooth. Maybe Smooth. I wasn't gonna. I was
Smooth?
trying not to say it, but maybe Ice.
Ice.
Eiler.
Yeah,
Eiler
Ice.
Hardy
Eiler
name.
Hardy's nickname is
Ice. And you're smooth?
I'm smooth.
Okay. And I don't think anybody would argue with that. Favorite place on the Notre Dame campus, Nyles, right now? Where was your favorite place to hang out, go visit?
By the Golden Dome.
Right. Okay. Where in the world, Jaylon, would you like to visit? A place you haven't been yet?
Fiji.
Fiji.
He said Fiji.
Oh, okay.
Now I said Fiji. I'm gonna go with Barcelona.
Okay. Been there. That's why Barcelona?
I watched a lot of movies growing up, and it looks beautiful.
It's a
viewing.
cool place.
Yeah,
it's a cool
I've never
place.
been there.
Because I want to go to Fiji. I agree with. I haven't been to Fiji. Fiji sounds good. James, how about you? Where would you like to visit?
I guess maybe like London or something. I haven't been over there, so I've been a lot of places, but not there.
That's fascinating, too. All right, now these guys are all from northern states, so I think I can ask this question. Are there any good things about snow?
I mean, well, I feel like people from down south, you know, they never really got the idea of, is there any little kids here? Okay, about Santa. Like growing up, we got the vibe of, you know, Santa was real, and they actually got to live it.
Santa's real. Yeah. Santa's real.
Santa is real.
Santa's real.
Yeah, Santa's real.
And now he can land now. Oh, of all the questions that could cause a problem, I never thought it would be that one. So moving on, new turf in the stadium. What do you think?
I think it's great. I don't think we'd be able to play on Saturday without it, especially this weekend.
How was it today before it whited out again? Did you get good traction out there? A little bit anyway?
A little bit.
Little bit.
Bit.
By the time you got back in, I was there about 3, and it was pretty clear. But when you guys got over there, it was snowing like crazy.
Yeah.
But it would have been worse had it been the grass. So.
Definitely.
All right. One thing you always hear from Coach Van Gorder in practice.
Niles?
Yeah, Niles can start with this.
I think his favorite line would be, "You just don't get it." Favorite line.
Well, I guess mine would be, "When are you going to learn?"
There seems to be a theme here. Jaylon, what do you hear?
Good job, Jay.
Good job, Jay. That away, Jay.
No.
Well, that's something. I mean, apparently, that's all they think.
No.
Yeah, okay.
You get what you earn. That's what I get.
Yeah, well, and apparently you earned your job. Assistant coach who was most like Coach Kelly. James, I think it's your turn, but anybody can jump in on this.
Yeah, if you guys think of something. Assistant coach.
One of a kind.
This is good, Coach. They haven't spent a lot of time contemplating this question, so.
Yeah, no.
One of a kind.
He's one of a kind.
Coach
Nyles says he's one of a kind. He's going to keep that starting job, isn't he? Absolutely. What's better, a sack or an interception?
Interception.
Definitely interception.
Fumble.
That's
Fumble
not
too?
an option.
Forced fumble.
Interception.
All right.
I agree with the interception.
Definitely.
So basically a play with it that you end up with the ball.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that answer. Who's the hardest hitter on this team?
Me.
I mean, I'll admit I'm not the biggest, hardest hitter on the team. I'll definitely get you down though.
James?
I might have to put like Ben Counsel or JG up there.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Shoemate, I'll give Shoemate some credit.
Okay. Who is the toughest player to tackle on this team?
Greg Bryant.
Greg Bryant.
Yeah.
I think CJ Procise. He's
Okay.
slippery. He's slippery.
I'll tell him you said that. He's a guest at the luncheon tomorrow. He'll like that. All right, now here's the ones you guys like. Who's the best singer on the team?
Corey Robinson. Yeah.
Max.
Max? Okay.
You got
Mike Hireman's got a pretty hidden talent.
really?
Yeah, he's got a hidden
I
talent.
haven't heard that about Mike.
Yeah.
Okay. Echoes Award Show. I'm going to have to get Mike to sing this year, maybe. Best dancer on the team.
Torrey Hunter.
Torrey Hunter.
Tory, definitely.
Okay, that's unanimous. Best comedian on the team. I think there's a few.
Jay Hayes.
Yeah, there's a few. Jay Hayes.
Jay Hayes.
I think naturally funny is Shoemate. He's pretty naturally
Yeah.
funny. Doesn't try.
Yeah. Jerron, he tries too hard.
Tries too
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
Okay. If there is one, best comedian on the coaching staff.
Oh.
And you can pass.
I think Coach Denbrock.
Coach Denbrock?
Denbrock's pretty
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah,
He's got a
I
good
would
sense of
agree.
humor.
That's best dresser on the team.
Matthias Farley.
Matthias Farley.
Okay.
I'd
You
say
got-
I may compete with Matthias Farley, but he's right up
Yeah,
there.
yeah, James, I've seen you. You dress pretty well. You dress pretty well. All right. Worst dresser on the team.
Oh man, Max.
Ooh, Max get killed here. All right.
Isaac Rochelle.
I'd
Hunter
throw
Bivin.
Jerron in there.
Nyles is just politely letting this one just go.
Just let it go.
All right, that's a smart thing to do. Player on the team most likely to become a football coach. James, you're laughing. Who'd you think of?
There's a bunch of names that ran through my head that are the opposite of that, but
Yeah.
All right, I think that's a pass.
Yeah.
that's a tough one.
Best thing about playing for Notre Dame?
You got it, Nyles?
You got it.
I mean, just the opportunity each and every week to play, on a national level. Playing at, with a great group of guys is more like a family. That's why I came here personally. I went to a Catholic high school and, kind of got the vibe of, what Notre Dame was all about. It's more than football. So really going out to display that, for our mother and our Lord every week, it's amazing.
Nyles or James, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I just agree with the part about playing with the team, That's the part that really means a lot to me, because you could go to a lot of different places and play big-time football, but I don't think you have the same relationship that you do here. So.
All right. Nyles, I'll give you a chance.
I remember when my official, I watched how these guys prepared and how they warmed up and how they all kind of stuck together, and I really took hold of that. And then I remember my first game, the Rice game, coming out of that tunnel with my brothers, and then just the crowd and the atmosphere and the excitement. It's kind of what I live for. It's amazing.
Folks, sophomore, freshman, sophomore. This team is in good hands moving forward. Guys, thank you. Great job. We'll be back with more on the Brian Kelly Radio Show right after this timeout. Welcome back to the Brian Kelly Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House. Coach Kelly back up here. I mean, you've got to think what I think, because, this basically dominates your life, your job. But when you see the kinds of people that you get to work with, it certainly makes my job more worthwhile, know that I'm at least helping a little bit getting the characters of the players that you play out in public, what great young men they are.
Good kids, and so when you put in so much time, 80 hours a week, you want to be around the guys that you like, and I don't think that there's been a guy that, that we've recruited that we haven't liked. So it's not just about athletic ability. It's got to be about character, too, and guys that you want to be around and you want to coach. So, I think that's probably, what separates us. We're not better than anybody else, but we choose to recruit guys that we enjoy being around.
These are all still really young men, and I want you to think about one thing. We do that 60-second drill so you can see their personality, but in the back of their minds, they had all kinds of smart, kind of quippy answers and off-color answers, but they had the maturity not to go there. They were entertaining, but there's nothing on Twitter now about something they said, and that's actually very hard to do in front of a crowd, and it's just another example of how mature these guys are, and they are fun to be around. Look at all the questions. We've got 8 more minutes, really, to get to some questions here. So Carol Barber, and Carol, I think you asked a weather question last week as well. She's concerned about the weather, and she likes to know how the team has transformed from the Arizona heat back to the cold of northern Indiana.
Well, I thought we did quite well, actually, in 85-degree weather. We had no cramping. Our guys were not fatigued at all. As you know, we played very well in the second half. And then transitioning back here, we went outdoors and it was, we practiced late. So it was 4 o'clock. We were in dark most of the time, so the weather had dipped into the high 20s. And, our guys practiced extremely well. And we had some gusty winds last night, too. And then today we went out in the middle of a pretty heavy snow squall. So weather will not be an issue for us. Where weather becomes a huge issue is if it's very, very wet and it's very windy. And we're not going to have either one of those on Saturday. We'll probably have 5 to 10 mile-an-hour winds, and it won't be very wet. It'll be cold. So the weather conditions won't be an issue now that we have field turf. If we had grass, it would be an issue for the playing surface. But so we don't have to worry about that.
And Beth has a question. She's from Houston, Texas, about the field turf. With the new turf, does the grounds crew do anything to protect the field from unexpected lake effect snow? And you really don't have to. You just plow it off.
Yeah, we have 2 flat, rounded edge blades that just just plow the snow right off. Matter of fact, during practice they were plowing it off, and it does a pretty good job of it. So we're in pretty good shape.
And it didn't take them long to clean that up either. Jill from Tempe has a question, and I've heard some people think this. She was wondering if it's true that the walk-ons can't come out with the team out of the tunnel and have to meet at the tunnel. That's not true.
No, not at all. The only thing that we do is that those that don't, or they're not on the unofficial travel squad, that don't go to the hotel with us, they meet us back at the Goog, and then we walk together from the Goog over to the stadium. But walk-ons do everything with us. They eat with us. They travel with us. They do everything with us. There's no separation of walk-ons within the program. Joe Smith was a walk-on. So they are – you don't know who a walk-on is and who a scholarship player is because everybody is treated the same.
Well, and they play an important role. I mean, there are no ceremonial walk-ons. Now, not everybody's like a Joe Smith who's really a preferred walk-on that you know is going to play, but everybody who you take on as a walk-on has to be able to perform at a high level in practice because they have a role.
Yeah, we have 4 guys that were awarded scholarships this year that were walk-ons, so all of them, have had, opportunities to distinguish themselves in the program, and you can't do that if you separate them from your program. So they're all, you wouldn't know who the walk-on is versus who the scholarship player is. They are not segmented at all within the program.
Landon's here from South Bend. He's here every week. Coach, are there going to be any changes made this week to the offensive line?
No, absolutely none. There's no need to make any changes on the offensive line. It's, again, I think I made this pretty clear. This was not a game in which the offensive line lost the game. This was a game where 11 players each individually had their responsibilities that, at times they did not get their jobs done. So it was not one unit. I think when you see 7 sacks, you think, well, the offensive line, didn't do their job, but that wasn't the case.
Judy's here from Granger. She's here every week. And, I'll be honest, this question's probably focused on Everett. Coach, if and when a player becomes rattled and out of sync with his norm, is it ever appropriate to sit him down to watch a series or two with the hope that he regains his composure during the teaching moments on the sideline? We had a couple others who said, why didn't you go to Malik on Saturday?
Yeah, we did that in his first year here. If you remember, Michigan, for example, in Everett's first year, he got rattled through an interception, and I pulled him out of the game, brought Tommy Rees in, and we did that in Everett's first year because he did get rattled. Everett didn't get rattled in the game as much as, poor execution in a number of different cases. There were other players that were involved in some of those plays that weren't executed properly.
And again, I know I was tweeting with some people on Saturday. Unfortunately, Malik hasn't had a chance to get in there and throw the ball.
Yeah.
And part of that's because of the schedule. And we've talked about the schedule last week. You're challenged every week. You don't have games where you're up by 3 scores and the other team has no chance to come back. I know you want to work them in there, but you also want to win every game.
Yeah, look at our schedule. Everyone says, oh, you play this kind of schedule and you don't win and you don't beat anybody. But look, we didn't play Jacksonville, Wyoming, and Eastern Michigan in our first 3 games. That's just the way it is. We played, Purdue, and we played Michigan, and we played Big Ten schools. Those are glorified buys.
Well, and a good Rice team.
And we played a
that's
Rice
winning
team
their conference again.
That's winning their conference. So you say whatever you want, but we've got to play 4 quarters. Tell me who wants to play Navy. There's nobody out there that wants to play Navy. Look, we got to play our kids, and unfortunately, it's a fact that, Malik can't get into some of those games because we're still battling.
Andy Staub is here from Gettysburg. We've got 40 seconds left. He wants to know the challenges of playing Northwestern.
Well coached, extremely well coached on both sides of the ball. Offensively, smart. Simeon is a very smart quarterback. If you blitz him, he gets the ball out of his hands very well. Just a really good system. Mick McCall, their offensive coordinator, I've known for a long time. I have a lot of respect for him. Coach Fitzgerald does a very good job overall managing that entire operation. And then defensively, Coach Hankiewicz has been around a long time. They're fundamentally sound, don't give up big plays. it's a stingy team. You know, they're not sloppy. They don't give up big plays, and they make you earn it. You got to go beat them. You got to earn it. And they had 2 really good wins at Penn State. They dominated the ball game at Penn State, which is hard to win at, and they got a great win over Wisconsin.
Coach, thank you. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That'll do it. Our last show next Thursday night right here. Until then, thanks for coming out. Thanks for listening, and go Irish.